to Stocks to Watch, the show where we uncover the hidden gems and rising stars in the natural resources sector. Whether you're a seasoned investor or new to the world of precious metals, this episode is packed with insights and opportunities, I can tell you. Today, we're thrilled to bring you an exclusive conversation with Joel Freudman, the dynamic CEO, co-founder, and director of TRU Precious Metals. I'm your host, Ashley Berry. Now, TRU Precious Metals is not just another mining company. They're really on a mission to create long-term value for their shareholders through strategic and careful development of natural resource properties. Their current focus, the central Newfoundland gold belt, one of the most promising regions for gold and copper exploration in the entire world. At the heart of this endeavor is their 100% owned Golden Rose project, a venture with its roots in a partnership with the renowned Altius Minerals. They're listed on the TSXV as TRU, the OTCQB as TRUIF, and the Frankfurt Exchange as 706. Joel, always a pleasure to see you. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Ashley. I should just be letting you do the interview.
Well, listen, I understand that 2023 was quite busy for TRU Precious Metals, specifically with the Golden Rose property. You worked really hard to bring together this land package. Can you briefly tell us the story behind how you put together this package and the opportunity you saw in it?
You know, mining takes a lot of time for things to come together properly. It doesn't happen overnight. And so Golden Rose has very much been a story that's years in the making that we now think we're very close to an inflection point on. We, as you mentioned, we optioned this property package from Altius Minerals back in early 2021. Altius is a $1 billion TSX listed company, project generator. They know how to find ideal projects. And this one was right in their backyard in Newfoundland. So we acquired from them about a third of what is the current Golden Rose project. And over the next 2 years of 2021 and 2022, we went on an M&A spree. We bought all the land in the area we could find. And what we couldn't buy, we optioned so that we now control the entire district. But the real rationale, so now, and the land package has tripled in size just about. What's really interesting and what first drew me as someone without a mining background, I come from a transactional legal background, but what really drew me to the project and what helps us to continue to attract partnerships like an investment from Eric Sprott, strategic investment from Ormonde Mining, which I know we'll get into, is really the location of this project. It's so important. Geology requires educated guesswork and scientific analysis. And this project, just by looking at a map, you can tell this is very much in the right location to make a major discovery. We are sandwiched between two major gold deposits. So not a lot of guesswork there. On the one side of us is a company, it used to be Marathon Gold. They have a 5 million ounce gold deposit called the Valentine Gold Project. Well, earlier this year in January, Marathon Gold got bought out for $340 million by a $1 billion producer called Calibre Mining. So our neighbor is now a $1 billion company. They are aggressively pumping money into the project, to Valentine Gold, literally next door to us, to build the gold mine and put it into production to pour first gold by early 2025. So we're going to have a multi-million ounce gold mine right next door to us, pouring out tons of gold as of next year. We're on the same deposit-bearing structural corridor. We basically have the same similar geology to them that runs all the way through our property. And on the other side of us is another company called Omega Metals. It was previously Matador Mining, and they have 600,000 ounces of gold. So you're talking about TRU with our Golden Rose project, sandwiched between these two major gold deposits, all strung along either side of our project. And so it's very reasonable to kind of, infer that should continue through our project. And that's really the geological underpinning for why Golden Rose is so exciting.
Yeah, and it certainly sounds like fantastic proximity, especially as you explain that. And I really like the fact that you said, it contains of educated being the important word, guesswork. Seems like you are really on the right path. During 2023, you really made some important discoveries. Want to really hear more about that, the high grades you uncovered during this period and how exciting that is.
Yeah, so grade is very important, certainly for to attract larger industry players, more serious financial institutions as investors into a company like this, which is still in the advanced exploration stage. So we're very fortunate at the Golden Rose project. We have not only high grade gold in spades at the property, but we also have high grade copper across the property, which is pretty interesting. And I know you'll see a lot of the larger gold companies now are making moves into copper to get that kind of electricity, battery metals type of exposure. Well, we have both at Golden Rose project. So it's a really great project and a land package. We did some channel sampling in late 2022, put out the results in early 2023. Again, these things don't happen overnight. And it was very high grade gold, 20, 30, 40 grams a ton of gold, in some cases higher. If you don't have a lot of technical background, that's fine. Most companies are happy with medium grade 1.5 to 5 grams a ton. So we're getting an order of magnitude like 10 times as high, 10 times as much gold. That makes this project very appealing when you start to think down the road of, is there a gold deposit? Could it be economic? These are terms we're not even at that stage yet, but you better believe that when sophisticated investors and industry is looking at our company, they are thinking this stuff for years down the road. Obviously, we're trying to make catalysts happen sooner than that. And on the copper side, most people are happy if they hit medium grade copper, call it 0.5% to 1.5% copper. Well, we were in drilling, we found 1% to 2% copper. So we're already into high grade. And then we have samples all along the northern part of our property, sometimes 7% copper, 10%, 12%. Like these are very, very high grades that you wouldn't normally see. Now, to be clear, we have to really firm these numbers up in additional drilling, both on the gold targets and copper targets. So there's much more work to be done. But drilling is a great source of news flow, so it should kind of keep investors in the market interested. And the more we start to firm up these targets through drilling and other field exploration, the more we start to attract additional industry interest in the company, which is very important for investors and for the company's trajectory as well.
Yeah, and then when you consider, of course, the price of gold and the high grade, I mean, that is really, really promising. Another milestone you hit, and you mentioned this, Ormonde Mining. How does this deal come to fruition, and how did it impact the course of the project?
Yeah, I mean, this is a major inflection point for TRU, which we're very fortunate to have the strategic backing of Ormonde Mining. It's a European-based mining company. Again, these things take time to materialize if you want to do them properly and you want to deliver big milestones. We're not looking to kind of go for like little wins here and there. We're looking for game changers. It takes time to do it. It's hard, but we've shown a demonstrated track record of making it happen. The Altius deal, Sprott as an investor, most recently Ormonde Mining, as you mentioned. So Ormonde, we met them at PDAC in March of 2023. And it took 6 months for that deal to be completed. Like these things take time. There's due diligence. You have to negotiate agreements, a lot of stuff behind the scenes. Luckily, our team is very well set up to execute this. I'm a lawyer. Our CFO is an accountant. So we can kind of keep the costs down, but it still takes time to get through these processes. And so in September of 2023, Ormonde completed their strategic investment of $3 million Canadian into TRU for at the time, about a 36% interest, controlling interest in TRU. We were very fortunate to have them on board. Now, obviously, in this industry, it's tough to raise capital. So we're very fortunate. We're exceptionally well capitalized for a company of our size. Terrific. But almost more than the money is the technical expertise they bring. Like, because this field of mineral exploration is so technical and you need real good science behind it, we have two technical experts. I would call them like our not so secret weapons, thanks to Ormonde. So one of them, Professor Garth Earls, he's like a lifetime geological veteran. He helped discover the Curano deposit in Northern Ireland, 6 million ounces of gold, huge deposit. And so this is a guy who knows how to find monster discoveries. He is our project evaluations advisor now. So we have a world-class geologist helping us ascertain what kind of size or discovery potential is there at Golden Rose project. And in addition from Ormonde, we have a gentleman on our board named Steve Nicol. He's a mining engineer by background. This guy's a mine builder. He's put a mine into production in Spain over, I think, 10 years. So this is someone who, I said earlier, you're going to have industry and, serious investors looking, could this be built into a mine? Could this be developed? Steve is our guy who can look at the Golden Rose project with those kind of lenses and say, is there actually the potential here for a discovery into a resource, into development and construction, into a producing mine? And if Ormonde already cut the check into TRU and invested as a strategic investor, they were satisfied with the results of their technical due diligence with two terrific experts helping them on that front. So as a normal retail investor, which I was myself before I got into running TRU, you have to look at what the smart money is doing, and you say, I'm going to place my bets following what the smart money is doing. Ormonde, chose TRU on the basis of the geological potential of Golden Rose with their experts, who we are now drawing upon to help us advance the project. Again, these things take time to come together, but you need the right minds around the table. You need capital. You need good core shareholders. TRU has all those things and a terrific project. We're very well positioned, and it's a lot of it is thanks in part to Ormonde Mining and their strategic investment.
Wonderful. So let's talk about the status of the project right now, and you sort of touched on this, but the next steps for the property.
Yeah, we are at an interesting inflection point for Golden Rose. It's looked a bit quiet to the market. I can appreciate that. We have been making some tweaks that we publicly disclose kind of whenever we have to update things. We added directors. We've started prepping for a plan. But again, we're not looking for small time here. This is a district scale project. It requires a lot of capital to advance and a lot of effort and thought to go into doing a program properly, so we can actually make like serious discoveries, which are hard to come by, but which Golden Rose has real potential for. We've already announced that we plan to do a copper focused fieldwork program this summer. It's been several months in the making. We've had to plan things like getting all kinds of permitting. We've had to determine what different types of work we want to do. So it's going to be field work. There's going to be trenching, which is kind of an interesting one to basically prepare for drilling. So that's a good one, as well as the scattering of prospecting. We're really trying to hone in on a whole series of copper drill targets specifically on the property, so that when there's a drill program, we can attack copper targets as well as gold targets. That takes time to do properly. We're not just going looking to drill beside a hole we drilled before. So that's in the works. In addition, although we haven't gotten into it a whole bunch because this takes even longer, there are these high-grade gold showings on our property, the Northcott Gold Zone that our team discovered in late 2022 and has since expanded on. We are also setting up internally for a drill program on those targets. Now, the exact timing is going to be, I would say, likely sometime later this year. It's still to be determined because this is, frankly, a very high leverage, high value drill program where we hope to blow open the roof on Golden Rose and say, look, like, we really got it. We're onto it. It's here. You don't go into something that's $1 million plus drill program with thousands of meters and involving, multiple crews and just say, well, we're just going to do it because the market wants it. What you have to do is make sure you have all the technical people around the table, put their heads together and say, how do we put a well planned out drill program together that's going to deliver real hits that will not only excite the market, but that will show technical experts like the geologists of the big companies that we have like a major discovery on our hands? Because that's what we're shooting for. Again, we're not going small time. We're looking for like the elephant hunting here. And so that's very much in the works, but we're not going to do it until we're good and ready. I think an aside is, the market is quieter over the summer, and we want to make sure that when we run a program like this, that there will be a market for it. So that's kind of like a maybe later this year, type of window in which we start to look at it very seriously. But that's all the planning that's been going on in the background related to Golden Rose. And so over the coming months, we're going to start to have exploration news flow, getting people out to the field. And certainly we intend for a drill program at some point. It's going to be a game time decision when exactly it is, but we're already starting to make the plans for some point this year.
I don't know how you find time for all this. Sounds like an amazing strategic vision on many different fronts. I also understand that you recently relisted on the OTCQB in the United States. Can you talk a little bit about the rationale behind that?
We were on the OTCQB for a bit of time, didn't really do a lot of marketing or any kind of efforts in the States for a while. And so to conserve costs late last year, we downgraded effectively from the OTCQB. With the spike in gold prices and copper prices to record highs this year, as you've mentioned, we've seen a lot of renewed investor interest. And this includes, like, I've gone to conferences this year. There's a Mines and Money in Miami. There was the SME Technical Conference in New York. And there are investors there, institutions, small institutions, industry, who are very big on gold and copper right now. And this is probably before those things have fully broken out, when there's quantitative easing comes into effect or any kind of market jitters that tend to send gold even higher. And so we want to be positioned right now when you already have these commodities prices ticking up and increased institutional investor interest and retail investor interest in gold and copper. We want to already be set up so that we can access the U.S. pool of capital that will play in the advanced exploration space. So that's really what the relisting is about. And we hope that over time, as we kind of build more of an audience in the States through doing interviews like these, that we'll continue to see increased liquidity in our share price, or in our shares and in the share price, of course.
Yeah, and it really just reinforces your statement about looking for these big wins and going after them. So, aside from everything you mentioned, this new infusion of work and ideas and this new partnership, what could you tell potential investors why TRU Precious Metals is a compelling opportunity right now for investing?
Yeah, I think there's both transactional and technical reasons. The number one is we have already internally drill-ready targets for gold that we're looking to build that pipeline. And as I mentioned, we're looking to build the copper drill-ready targets. So within the next probably quarter or so, I would expect that we'll have a full set of drill targets for a drill program. That's always a market mover, but that's also like a proof is in the pudding type of moment. That's very much on the horizon. We're just putting the finishing touches internally. So that's kind of a very good exploration catalyst coming up. Everything so far suggests we have the goods. It will be time to prove it as soon as we're good and ready. I expect some time this year. So that's number one on the exploration front. Number two, transactionally, as I mentioned, our neighbor Marathon just got bought out for hundreds of millions of dollars. They're about to start producing gold. That alone should start drawing new interest into the area. And so I think there's generally going to be more of an interest in our neck of the woods from investors and from industry, especially as you see gold prices continue to move up. And the third and final one is, well, I've been talking for a long time about transactions. Again, I'm transactionally driven, lawyer by background, and we've shown a track record of executing on huge deals, right? With Altius' counterparty, with Ormonde. Believe me, that stuff's going on in the background as well. There's nothing to say until we've got a signed deal that we can announce. But very much, we've seen a lot of interest since PDAC of this year, since March, from larger players in the industry and potential counterparties who are very interested in what we're doing at Golden Rose. And so while we can't make any guarantees on that front either, you can rest assured that behind the scenes, there are things in the works that we're trying to put together transactionally to continue to strengthen the company and advance the discovery potential of the Golden Rose project.
Well, I don't have a single doubt about that. To our viewers and listeners, it's an exciting journey for TRU Precious Metals. You've heard their vision for the future. Why now is the perfect time for investors to take notice. Joel Freudman, co-founder, CEO, and director of TRU Precious Metals. Always a pleasure to speak with you. We wish you the best of luck in future. And we look forward to having you on again here on Stocks to Watch. Thanks again, Joel.
Thanks, Ashley. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Stay tuned over the summer and in the fall.